Hi everyone, welcome back. As we have started discussing the upper limb and we discussed the bones of the shoulder girdle in our previous tutorial, so in this tutorial we are going to discuss the bone of the arm, that is the humerus bone. So the humerus is this bone located in the arm or the brachium, and it is the longest bone of the upper limb. Proximally, the humerus articulates with the glenoid cavity of the scapula to form this joint, known as the glenohumeral joint. Distally, the humerus articulates with the head of the radius and with the trochlear notch of the ulna to form the elbow joint. The humerus can be divided into three main regions: the proximal extremity, the body or shaft of the humerus, and the distal extremity. The proximal extremity of the humerus has the following bony features: the head of the humerus, the anatomical neck, the greater tubercle, the lesser tubercle, the surgical neck, and the intertubercular groove. The head is this round, smooth, proximal end of the humerus. It forms 1/3 of a sphere and it is oriented medially, superiorly, and slightly posteriorly. It articulates with the glenoid cavity of the scapula to form the glenohumeral joint, as we talked about earlier. The anatomical neck is this slightly constricted region surrounding the articular surface of the head. The articular capsule of the glenohumeral joint attaches along the inferior edge of the anatomical neck, somewhere in this area. The greater tubercle is this large roughened elevation on the lateral proximal end of the humerus, lateral to the head. The lesser tubercle is this small roughened elevation on the anterior proximal end of the humerus, inferior to the head and medial to the greater tubercle. Now the surgical neck is this constricted area immediately inferior to the greater and lesser tubercles. It serves as an interface between the proximal extremity and the shaft of the humerus. The surgical neck has important relations with the axillary nerve and with the anterior and posterior circumflex humeral vessels. So fractures of the surgical neck can somehow damage these structures. The intertubercular groove or the bicipital groove is this deep groove on the anterior surface of the humerus. It separates the greater and lesser tubercles. This groove houses the tendon of the long head of the biceps brachii muscle, as shown in the model. Now the body or shaft of the humerus has the following bony features: the deltoid tuberosity, The radial or the spiral groove, the medial supracondylar ridge, the lateral supracondylar ridge. So this roughened triangular elevation on the anterolateral surface of the midshaft of the humerus is the deltoid tuberosity. This tuberosity serves as the attachment area for the deltoid muscle, as is shown in the model. There is this shallow depression that spirals around the posterior and lateral aspects of the midshaft of the humerus, known as the radial groove or the spiral groove. The radial nerve and the profunda brachii vessels pass through this radial groove, so any fracture of the midshaft of the humerus can affect these structures. Now, this narrow ridge running proximally from the medial epicondyle, forming the lower medial border of the humerus, is the medial supracondylar ridge. And this narrow ridge running proximally from the lateral epicondyle, forming the lower lateral border of the humerus, is the lateral supracondylar ridge. So now the distal extremity of the humerus has the following bony features: the lateral epicondyle, the medial epicondyle, the ulnar groove or the ulnar sulcus, the capitulum, the trochlea, the coronoid fossa, the radial fossa, and the olecranon fossa. So this small roughened projection on the distal lateral side of the humerus is the lateral epicondyle. And this large knob-like projection on the distal medial side of the humerus is the medial epicondyle. There is this shallow groove or depression on the posterior surface of the medial epicondyle known as the ulnar groove. This nerve, known as the ulnar nerve, passes through this groove, and stimulation of this nerve against the medial epicondyle elicits the characteristic funny bone response. There is this rounded half spherical articular process at the distal lateral end of the humerus known as the capitulum. And on the distal medial side, there is this pulley-shaped articular process called the trochlea. There are 3 fossa in the distal extremity of the humerus. This depression on the distal anterior end of the humerus, immediately proximal to the trochlea, is known as the coronoid fossa. This one, immediately proximal to the capitulum on the distal anterior end of the humerus, is the radial fossa. And this one, on the distal posterior end of the humerus, immediately proximal to the trochlea, is the olecranon fossa. So this was about the bone of the arm, that is the humerus bone, and we will be discussing the bones of the upper limb continually in the succeeding tutorials. So in the next tutorial, we will be discussing the bones of the forearm. So stay with us. Thank you so much.